everybody. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us for the 10 Weather Impact Show. We're glad you're here. A lot of things happening this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of activities going on this weekend. Not a lot of impactful weather going on. I mean, it was kind of chilly out there, but...
Kind of. I was freezing this morning. Yikes.
I mean, I heard people were turning the heat on out there. We were in the 30s across the region last night. I just grabbed the extra blanket. I was good to go.
That's true. You know, you can always do that. The fire pits were going on. The fireplaces were happening. But you know what? We have a lot more warmth on the way.
Yeah, good
Starts
news.
with this afternoon. I know. Lots of sunshine in the forecast. So super happy about that. And I'm sure you are too. A lot of things going on. We've got football, you know, 1st and 10. We've got OSU away, but I'm sure lots of watch parties. But it's mainly going to be a dry weekend as we go. And I say mainly, you'll see in a bit why. But I want to give you a view of kind of the weather you can expect in most spots as we go into the afternoon. Going to see plenty of that sunshine out there in the forecast. But let's get right to those headlines for us. I know we talked a lot about, well, you know, is this normal? Is this typical for us to have that first freeze? But I can tell you, this is kind of the time of year we start to get those much colder mornings. And you can see for most of Ohio that average first freeze actually happens mid to late October. But sometimes it can be delayed if we have warmer months going into this and whatnot, or warmer patterns. And so we're always keeping an eye on that. But all we had was a frost advisory. We didn't get into those freeze or hard freeze watches and warnings, which was, I'm sure, good news for us. But the temperatures tomorrow morning, I do want to let you know they're not going to be as bad. It'll still be on the chillier side, you can see. But there is some much milder air that's going to be moving in. So something for us to look forward to, as we are going to have a big difference in our temperatures. Gosh, what a difference a day makes, right? You can see our average low is 47. So the next couple of days, we're going to be right around where we're supposed to be. But by Tuesday, we really start to warm up. And so it is going to be a big difference, as I mentioned, from what we were dealing with the last couple of days. And as we go into your afternoon, you can see topping out in the upper 60s to low 70s. And then we'll see those temperatures start to plummet as the sun goes down with those clear skies again for us tonight. But if you're planning on golfing this weekend, I'm giving you a go for golf as we move forward all the way in the next couple of days. But the hour-by-hour forecast, let me walk you through this for Saturday. For the rest of today, you're going to fall asleep if I show it to you. But for tomorrow, we are expecting to see some more clouds start to stream in as we go into the afternoon. That was 12:30. You can see by 3 o'clock maybe some high clouds coming in from the south. And then as we go into the overnight hours, we have a storm system that's going to be pushing some more clouds our way. And yes, maybe even some light showers. So if you're going up to Pittsburgh, we have the Steelers-Browns game at 1 o'clock on Sunday. You might have some showers to deal with. In fact, that's kind of where we're going to be keeping our eyes. Now, here a little bit closer to home, you can see little bits of green showing up here and there. But to be honest, I think majority of us will stay dry. We'll just get a little bit more cloudy as we've seen. And then that continues for us with, again, maybe a few passing quick showers. And then this is out of here. By Sunday night, you can see a much different weather story for us. We'll go back to those clear skies again. But really not going to see a big punch in those temperatures by any means. And again, as I was mentioning, we're going to be keeping a really close eye on that forecast for us because it's good for golf. And I know it's hard to believe sometimes that late season golf, but it's also going to be good later tonight for 1st and 10. Now, yes, it'll be a little bit on the cooler side, but you can certainly see, though, as we go into the evening, once the sun goes down, there will be that chill in the air, just not as cold as it was this morning, which is such good news. I mean, we've got winter for that, right? We're going to have to deal with that eventually. But you can see as we look at the immediacy, we're going to be seeing temperatures slowly start to climb as we go into Saturday and Sunday. Those low 70s are in the forecast. My pick of the next week will actually be for us as we go into Tuesday. That's when we're going to be at the mid to upper 70s across central Ohio. But you can see pretty dry. Aside from what I talked about for Sunday, it really not looking too much at all to have any concerns. I mean, we have the drought, which we're always concerned about, so we could use the rain. But, you know, for your weekend plans, we want to keep the rain away.
Yeah, definitely want to keep the rain away. And, you know, we've been talking a lot these past couple weeks about the drought, but the rainfall we got this week came on the same day they collect that data. So that data right now kind of not important, kind of useless. We got to wait till next week to see how much the rain actually helped things this week.
Well, my fingers are crossed as always, fingers and toes.
Absolutely. And you know, Meredith, we were talking about the forecast. It's improving this weekend. Things are getting warmer, but earlier today we were talking about how cold it was, and we actually had some frost concerns around central Ohio.
Well, thankfully, we look to have avoided the worst of the chill, but did you know that frost, despite it being ice, can form well before your phone says temperatures have reached freezing?
Yeah.
Michael, you were able to break down a separate segment recently about the reasons of why this happens.
Yeah. What exactly is frost and how does it form? We wanted to take a look at the science behind this process and break it down for you at home. The air temperatures, what you see on your phone or on our weather maps, those likely won't get to freezing level, but that doesn't mean that there's not freezing air in place. The coldest air actually sinks below the level we measure the air temperature, which is about 5 feet off the ground, and can get down to that freezing point at the surface. From there, if we have water droplets that condense onto plants, onto surfaces, onto grass, those droplets can freeze and turn into that layer of frost. And it's why frost is so dangerous to plants, especially out there. Any of those sensitive vegetations could certainly be damaged by that layer of ice. We need a certain criteria to get frost, though, mainly clear skies, light winds, moisture in the air that can condense, and of course, those temperatures in the 30s. If we get all those in place overnight, well, you might wake up to some frost on the ground in the morning, just like this, with things looking a little bit like winter outside.
No, don't say the W word.
I definitely don't want to say that, and especially not when it's still high school football season, because we want that nice weather out there for football.
So exciting. And, you know, outside the weather, it's Friday, and that means football under
Friday
the Friday
Night
Night
Lights. Here we go again.
Well, it's week 8 of the high school football season, and it's hard to believe we're almost done with the regular season.
It came so quickly.
Now, our game of the week is at Grove City at Pickerington North. Checked the forecast earlier, looking good. Temperatures in the 60s, lots of sunshine. But no, you can listen to that game live on 97.1 The Fan. Kickoff is actually at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, and of course, that Friday night is just one of the games. It's a loaded slate, 10 games on 1st and 10. You can find out how all those games played out tonight later on 10 TV and on 10 TV Plus. I'll start right after the news tonight at 11. You know, high school football, that's one night, but we're also just a day away from Ohio State. And this week, it is the Battle of the Illibuck. I never actually heard of that before. But it's a wooden turtle apparently given to the winner of the Illinois-Ohio State game. Well,
did you know the number 17 Fighting Illini? Illini?
Illini.
Well, it's the top-ranked Buckeye team. I'm not a fan. On Saturday at noon, and head coach Ryan Day has nothing but praise for his opponents. And Illinois head coach Brett Bielema.
We got a really good opponent that we're playing this week that knows how to win. You know, Brett is as good a coach as there is in the game. He's got a really good staff. His players are tough. They're smart, and they know how to win.
Well, don't forget, you can watch the entire Ryan Day press conference over on our streaming app, 10 TV Plus, and you can easily download it for free on your TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Great place to get all kinds of content, including this show. You might be watching it there now, but of course, sports, they're not the only thing you can get out and do this weekend here in Central Ohio. Starting today, you can actually get a taste of Italy. The annual Italian festival comes back.
Perfect. My heritage, Dom Tiberi's heritage. The 3-day event, it not only spotlights great Italian food, but it can also have culture as well. And while there will be live music, the food really is actually the main event.
Yeah, you can't pass on the good food.
Oh gosh, no. One local pizza shop tells 10 TV they're preparing to feed, get this, thousands of hungry mouths looking to eat some classics. Dozens of cans of tomatoes and spices, they're all being prepped for the pizza sauce.
We cook our pizza sauce. We just don't open up a can. We use all California products, better products, consistent product. We cook it down with fresh basil, fresh garlic, fresh onions, olive oil. So it's like almost like a spaghetti pasta sauce.
Sounds good.
Yeah, my dad had his own recipe as well, so I get that like special authentic.
Yeah, you got to have that family recipe ready to go. And if you want to taste it, the 3-day festival that starts today, 5 o'clock this evening. You can head out there, goes until 11. Tomorrow's hours are noon till 11, and Sunday the festival goes from noon to 7.
Well, did you know this weekend also marks the start of the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium's fall festivities for Halloween?
It is getting towards spooky season out there, and Boo at the Zoo includes giant pumpkin carving, a trick-or-treat trail, a jack-o'-lantern journey, and a Halloween hoedown. Sounds fun. Yeehaw. Just name a few of their activities. Boo at the Zoo is Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays, and if you can't make it this weekend, it's also happening next weekend and the weekend of the 24th.
And for the end of the month, if you're worried about running out of candy, because who worries about running out of candy?
Me.
The Halloween Rescue Squad is you covered for the third year in a row. M&M's is bringing the program back, offering free, get this, candy refills.
Ooh, I wonder if it still counts if I ate the candy myself. Hopefully it does. It's a partnership with GoPuff Delivery. Starting on Halloween, you can get a free candy bowl refill as long as you live near or in a GoPuff Delivery area. More information about that on our website, 10tv.com. Turning our attention now from local events this weekend to the tropics, things are still pretty active out there, including in the Pacific, where they've had a heavy rain warning issued in Japan for residents of the Izu Island chain south of Tokyo, and to remain vigilant for landslides and flooding.
And Kyoto News Agency reported there had been record rainfall in parts of the Izu Island chain, which is located 280 kilometers, which is 174 miles south of the Japanese capital. The southern part of the chain saw rainfall records as Typhoon Halong, the 22nd, by the way, of this season, moved over the Pacific. I know, crazy, so fast. And it actually prompted the Japanese Meteorological Agency to issue the alert covering the Honshu Island, some 280 kilometers south of the Japanese capital.
Yeah, hundreds of residents in the region were forced to take refuge as evacuation centers. According to Japanese state media, their winds up to 196 kilometers per hour. It's crazy. That was as of Thursday. Local authorities say 3 men who were fishing out there were swept away, unfortunately leaving 1 dead.
It's such wild stuff out there. And back closer to home, we are also tracking activity in the Atlantic, including 2 named storms. Now, Michael, you have the latest on these systems this afternoon with one named after our chief meteorologist.
Yeah, well, Jerry's out there conjuring up some trouble in the tropics this afternoon, and thankfully staying away from shore, because that's what we want these storms to do, is not make landfall and not gain that much strength. And Jerry out there needs to go back to the gym a little bit. Not really expected to get above more than a tropical storm as of early Friday, up to 50-mile-per-hour winds gusting to 65. The movement to the northwest will take the storm on up into the Atlantic. Again, not expected to make landfall here in the U.S. and currently not forecast to go above tropical storm strength and then eventually push its way on out into the Atlantic. But that's not the only storm we actually have way to the north. We got another named storm picking up Karen for the year. Subtropical storm Karen in the North Atlantic. This is closer to Europe than to any of us here in the U.S. Not expected to have a long life or a super impactful tropical life, but you can see that circulation there. Winds gusting as high as 60 miles per hour and pretty low pressure there, 998 millibars. That is pushing its way off to the north as well. We'll keep an eye on that, but this one again, not expected to impact the U.S. And while it's not a tropical system, this isn't the only thing the East Coast is bracing for this weekend. While we've got Jerry out here in the Atlantic, we've got another storm forming here off the coast of Florida. And this guy currently not forecast to turn tropical, but what it will do is bring a lot of rain up the East Coast. You can see by Saturday, rain pushing up toward the Carolinas, and this is going to continue to push up to the northeast, bringing likely heavy rain and choppy surf along the East Coast there. It's going to be kind of an active weekend regardless of the tropical system out there as we head into, well, the next couple of days.
Oh my gosh, you know, it's just so crazy, but there's a lot of things happening nationally that's making headlines. And other kinds of tropical activity, there's some stuff happening out to sea too.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, this tropical activity coming at the same time king tides have been impacting the East Coast, causing flooding along streets out there in Garden City and the Murrells Inlet, creating lots of problems out there for drivers. Jordan Titus from our affiliate WBTW has the latest on those floods and their impacts.
Standing on North Dogwood Drive, where you can still see water on parts of the road, but residents here tell me this is not a new problem. King tides that happen a few times each year are pushing water into neighborhoods here in Garden City, leaving some roads under several inches of water. These are the highest tides of the year when the Earth, Moon, and Sun align, creating a strong gravitational pull. The Murrells Inlet Garden City Fire District posted on Facebook earlier in the week advising residents to stay safe and be alert. They urge drivers to use caution and avoid flooded roads when possible as the tides leave streets covered. For Jay Campbell, who has lived here for over a decade, this is nothing new. He knows natural tides occur and brings floods, but believes it goes deeper than that.
Look, if it's a hurricane, I get it. The ocean's going to meet the marsh, and that's part of the deal that you just sign up for if you live here. But this is not part of the deal.
Campbell says check valves are contributing factors along with high tides that brings flooding. On North Dogwood Drive, Campbell says there are about 5 to 6 drains that he believes are not maintained properly.
Every time it floods, or every time the tides come in and they're high tides, the water comes straight up through the drains and right onto the road first.
Campbell says flooding like this can trap cars, damage property, and create safety risks.
You're driving through salt water. You're destroying your vehicle, your brakes, all that stuff that is underneath your car. Well, if you drive through, you create a wake, and that water goes into those properties and destroys those properties. A few years ago, where the fire department had to come down, where these people left their car because they were afraid somebody might have been in the car. Well, what happens is those people get washed into the marsh. I mean, it can be dangerous.
In Garden City, Jordan Titus, News 13.
And finally today, let's check out some new video into us here at 10 TV. First up, 20 years worth of images taken by 2 orbiters circling Mars have been compiled into what led to the discovery of the winds on the planet, creating dust devils that can actually be seen. How crazy is that? Dust was caught in the wind's vertices, creating a phenomenon, again, called dust devil, just like a tornado we see here on Earth. And we see those dust devils here, too.
Dude, I love seeing them on other planets, for sure. However, images of these Martian dust devils seem to show they move much faster and are more abundant on a global scale.
Oh, wow.
Now, that's according to lead author of the study, published in the journal Science Advances, a machine modeled on the human brain, a neural network. Now, that was used to spot vortices in the orbital data. Now, it was estimated the Martian dust devils and their winds can get this move as fast as roughly 99 miles per hour. That's much faster than I know.
We're at tornado at this point.
I'm driving the Mars rover. Let's get out of the way. I think it's coming at me. And you know what? They're tracking the movement of the dust devils. And the reason is it's crucial for planning future robotic and human exploration when we eventually get there.
So it sounds like they're going to need some meteorologists up there on Mars. We can track tornadoes, dust devils. We're good to go. Cool video there.
Very cool.
And speaking of some interesting video, finally this Friday, early this week, police officers, bad boys, staged an arrest of a large iguana after receiving calls it was roaming a Daytona Beach neighborhood. Footage shows the officers cornering the iguana before picking it up and escorting it back to their patrol cars, just like a perpetrator.
Because what you gonna do when they come for you, right? Well, a mugshot was also released with the charges listed as disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, trespassing, and fleeing.
I see him trying to flee. I don't think he owns that house, so that gets us that
No.
trespassing. It doesn't look too cooperative either.
Well, if he was here, he'd probably be playing dead, because as we know, when the iguana's temperature gets to a certain level, they literally like fall out of trees and pretend they're dead, and they're not, but it's just so cold.
I've seen the falling iguana warnings down there in Florida. You get this type of air down there, and you need a helmet.
If I'm going to Florida, I better not get the kind of air down there.
Want warmer weather.
Well, we're so glad you could join us. That's it for your weather update here on 10 TV Plus. Now, coming up later tonight, Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz will be in with all the details on your weekend forecast. But until then, I know you can always catch more news, weather, or even traffic online at 10tv.com. We hope you have a great afternoon.
Enjoy.